Hello and welcome to a channel update video with me, Balthelion. So this is something new I'm planning to do every month or two, just to keep you guys informed as to what's going on with the channel and what to expect in the near future, so hopefully you'll find this interesting. So since this is the first one ever then, as well as for 2015, I figured I'd start off by giving you guys a heads up as to what's likely to feature on the channel over the coming year, not just in the immediate future. So some things on this list may get added or removed as the year progresses, but it should be fairly accurate come the end of the year as to what to expect. But if there's any particular games you'd like me to feature that aren't on this list, then please let me know in the comments and I'll consider it. So first up then, let's start with the obvious one, the Lord of the Rings Online. So the main series will continue to run throughout the year. With a bit of luck, I hope to finish the year either at or close to the level cap, which is currently level 100, but that might go up over the year, depending on what Turbine do. So we'll see how that goes. As you've probably noticed if you've been following the series, several characters have now featured so far. So Tristana, Avella and Scalvig have all featured as leveling characters, while a couple of other ones have made some cameos on occasion. So this trend is likely to continue over the coming year as old faces come back and perhaps a couple of new ones appear. So there's several reasons why I do this. So firstly, it adds a bit of variety for me, because sometimes it can get a bit boring recording too much in one go with a single character. It gives me less to say and comment on during the videos and kind of gets a bit stale basically. So featuring new characters not only gives me more things to say and do in the videos, it also allows me to showcase some new classes, some new races, maybe some new playstyles that certain characters aren't really capable of. So all the characters I've leveled previously are at least level 62, so it'll be a while before we start seeing too many new faces. But you'll probably start to see some new faces once we get into those higher level ranges. In the meantime though, Scalvig's journey through Evendim will continue to air on the channel. And I actually recorded that quite a while ago now, it's probably the end of November when I recorded all the Evendim footage. So he's currently actually level 85 and he's in Rohan right now and not far off starting West Rohan. So he's not got long till he hits a level 100, which would be quite nice. So let's take a look back at our journey so far then. So we started off in Breeland, which is the Man and now the Bjorning starter region. Although we did start that as a hobbit, you can freely move between the starter regions if you prefer a particular one over the others. You don't have to stay in the one that your race normally starts in. But we also poked our noses into the Shire a little, which is of course the hobbit starter area. We've also poked our noses into Ered Luin as well, which is the starter area for dwarves and elves. After that we headed off east to the Lonelands, and then after that north to the North Downs, and most recently Scalvig's been levelling in Evendim, where he's going to continue to feature for the remainder of the region. So as you can see though from the map that's on the screen, there's still plenty left on the Eredor map to visit, and this is only one of the three main regions of Middle-earth in LOTRO right now. So there's Eredor, there's Rhovanion, which is kind of the east side of the mountains, and Rohan. And then the new one is Gondor and that kind of area, so there's still plenty of the map left to explore as well. So ruling out the Etten Moors, since that's the PvP region intended for level cap players, even if these days lower level characters can still go there, that still leaves us plenty to do over the coming year. So next up will be the Troll Shores, and I'm probably not going to do a full levelling path through that region, but I will do enough to give you guys a good flavour of that region and to show off Rivendell properly, since we've only just poked our noses in there recently with Scalvig. Now, since this region is about the same level wise as Evendim, I'll probably use Avella to play catch up. She briefly levels through that region just to get closer to level 40 before we pick up with some brand new regions. After that I'll be attempting something a bit bolder. So there are 3 separate regions that approximately cover the level 40 to 50 level range, and since I want to showcase all 3, I figured what better way to do it than to showcase all 3 simultaneously with 3 separate characters. So to that end we're going to see Avella coming back, and she's going to head north into the frozen ice bay of Thorokal, so it's going to be a nice snowy landscape there. Meanwhile, Tristana is going to venture into the Black Land of Angmar, where the Witch King once ruled, but he since moved south down to Minas Morgul. And then a third character, and I'm not entirely sure who that's going to be yet, but it'll probably be one of my as yet unleveled characters. They're going to head into the snowy paths of the Misty Mountains, so they'll be braving the snowy heights of Caradhras and the depths of Goblin Town, so that's going to be quite an interesting one as well. So after that huge section is done then, paths are going to start converging as we begin the road to Moria. So since there's only one route, we'll be back down to one levelling character, and I'm not sure who that's going to be, but it'll probably be a Vela, if I had to guess at this stage, we'll see. And they're going to head through the elven ruins of Eregion, and after that, that same character is going to head into the long dark of Moria, which is a fantastic region of the game. It's got a great atmosphere, it's pretty dark and foreboding. It's changed a bit over the years. I personally preferred it how it used to be. It's a bit easier now. But it's a massive region. It's got some great atmosphere. It's probably one of my top 2 regions of the game. The other one being Rohan, because that's pretty interesting as well. So that'll be a huge region, and that will take us up to level 60 at the end of that. So all of that will probably take us at least halfway through 2015 and all the way to level 60. So I will leave teasers for the rest of the journey until nearer the time later in the year. But suffice to say, yes, we will be heading to Lothlorien, Rohan, Gondor, and many other exciting places after Moria that the Fellowship travel to, and some that they don't travel to, but still pretty interesting and scenic areas that are mentioned in the Lord of the Rings and the appendices. So other than the main series then, I'm also going to be doing a lot more additional videos that are not part of the main series. So examples of that would be like my LOTRO secrets videos. I haven't done one of those for a while, but I've been meaning to do a few more of those, just explaining some of the secrets there. I've been asked to do some other videos which I haven't yet got around to, so some that are going to cover each individual region, just give a brief overview of those, maybe some of the history about that. So I've covered slight bits here and there while doing the main series and questing about, but I can do some focus videos on those. On each region, maybe rate it as to how efficient they are cost-wise, if you need to buy some new regions, if they're good, worth buying, that kind of stuff. Then a couple of other bits and pieces, so I don't know, maybe some instance videos, maybe some class overviews. So if you've got any other ideas for like additional LOTRO videos you'd be interested in seeing, then please let me know in the comments, and I'll be sure to consider it. So that pretty much rounds it off then for LOTRO, but as you can see, it's pretty much going to be the main series as always with the channel going forwards. But moving on then, let's see some of the other games that I'm likely to showcase over the coming year. So the first game that I'm going to be playing in 2015 is going to be the Game of Thrones game by Telltale Games. So those are the people that made the 2 seasons of the Walking Dead game so far, and that was bloody brilliant. So the format lends itself pretty well to Game of Thrones with its kind of character-driven narratives and backstabbing and murder and death and all things horrible basically. So it's going to be pretty interesting to play that, and that's going to be a blind Let's Play as well. So I'm going to go into this with pretty much no experience of the game or what to expect, knowing that A, it's a Telltale Games game, and B, it's a Game of Thrones game. It's probably going to end badly for most of the characters anyway, but we'll see how that goes. So story-wise, this is completely independent from the books. This is a whole narrative that's been made up. It's going to take place roughly between seasons 3 and 4 of the show, so round about kind of the time of the Red Wedding. There's going to be 6 episodes to this storyline as well, and it's going to feature 5 playable characters, which is kind of new for a Telltale Games game, because I think this is the first one that's used more than one character. I may be mistaken, but normally they just have one playable character for the whole game, so that's going to be pretty interesting. So in the game then, we're going to be playing as House Forrester, who are bannermen to House Stark. So they're good guys, we'll be rooting for them until they die, because let's be honest, by the end of Season 1 of this game, probably half of them will be dead or maimed or something horrible anyway. So this household then is Lord Gregor Forrester. He's the head of House Forrester and loyal to the Starks. So he's probably gone off with Robb when he was fighting his war. Then there is Lady Alyssa Forrester, so she's the mother of the family. She's originally from House Branfield, and she's married into House Forrester. Then the firstborn son is Roderick Forrester. So he's the heir to the house, and he's got a pretty strong military background. So he may have again gone off to war already. Next up, there is Asher Forrester. He's the second-born son of the house, but he was a bit of a miscreant, and he was exiled to Essos, the Eastern Continent, where Daenerys and all that are. But he's definitely going to be one of the 5 playable characters. I don't know all 5 of them, I only know 3 of them. Then the next eldest is Mira Forrester. She's the eldest daughter of the house, and she's a handmaiden to Marjorie Tyrell, so she's going to be in King's Landing and going to meet several of those characters there. And she's also going to be a playable character at some point. Then there is going to be Talia Forrester, who's the second eldest daughter, and she's gifted with a talented voice. And her twin Ethan Forrester, who is the third-born son, and he's pretty much a scholar. He's pretty well educated, and he's going to be a playable character for definite as well. And then lastly, there's the youngest son of the house, Ryan Forrester. So Asher, Mira, and Ethan are all going to be playable characters. I'm not entirely sure who the last 2 are, but I'd guess that Roderick's probably going to be one of them, and possibly one of the parents. I don't know. We'll see what happens when we get around to playing episode 1. So next up on the list after that then is going to be the 3rd game in the Deus Ex trilogy, Deus Ex Human Revolution. So I've already done Let's Plays for the first 2 games in that series, so you can go back and find those on my channel somewhere. The first one I did probably 2 years ago now actually. I think it's one of the first Let's Plays I did there, apart from the LOTRO series on the channel, so the quality is a bit less good, but there's some pretty amusing deaths that occur in that playthrough. With some slow motion animations and stuff as well, so check that out if you're interested in that. But basically this series is an RPG. It's set in the future. The first 2 games are about, I'm probably going to get it completely wrong, but it's probably about 2050 or something like that. Probably a bit further in the future actually. But this 3rd game is a prequel to the first 2, so the first 2 occurred in that order. The 3rd one is a prequel to both of those, so it's in the early days of cybernetic implants. So people have got all these strange implants in their eyes and stuff, so they can see infrared, things like that, and they get augmented arms which can sprout knives and all kinds of weird, wonderful stuff like that. So it's set in the early days of these cybernetic implants. You can pretty much murder people quite successfully with those. But story-wise, it's a pretty dark story. There's a lot of intrigue going on, so corrupt corporations, assassinations, and stuff like that. But you get to play as Adam Jensen, who is becomes one of these people that's got all these cybernetic implants, and it's not really something he was after, but it saved his life. And he's on a quest to find out answers to various things, which I won't go into because it's kind of a bit spoilery. For at least the first episode of the game anyway. But it's going to be a pretty cool game. We can play it however we like. I'm generally quite a stealth bastard, as I like to put it. So I will sneak around kind of like Batman and then just kind of assassinate somebody and then go hide in a closet or something and lure more people and then assassinate them, because I enjoy that kind of thing. But if you're the kind of person that likes to run into a room, gun down 12 men, and run into the next room, rinse, repeat, then you can certainly do that as well. But you can augment yourself with all these kind of weird and wonderful powers, which is quite interesting. But yeah, the second game in the series was a bit of a letdown because it wasn't really like the first game in the series. I feel that this is kind of the sequel that the original game deserved. I mean, the original game is probably about 2000 when it came out, give or take. So this came out 2011, I think. But anyway, it's kind of more in the style of the original game, so if you enjoyed the original game, you're probably going to enjoy this. But that'll probably be the thing that I'm going to probably start probably towards the end of January. I'd say I'd start this. So we'll see how that one goes. That'll be quite fun. I'm looking forward to this one.
Police have opened fire on the crowd.
So next on the to-do list then is the Lord of the Rings Shadow of Mordor, as I like to call it, Shanker of Mordor, because that's pretty much what you're doing for the entire game, and it's a lot of fun. But basically you're kind of like a Assassin's Creed kind of character that goes around lurking in the shadows and then just assassinating your enemies. But your playable character is a former ranger who was guarding the Black Gate. So this is kind of like a prequel to the War of the Ring. Not too far in the past. It certainly suggests something like, I don't know, maybe 30 years or something like that. It's recent. And I think it plays a bit hard and fast with the lore. But there we go, if you can just enjoy it as it is. But it's a lot of fun, and there's actually a second whole map which impressed me after I'd played through a fair bit of the game, which comes as a nice surprise. But the interesting thing that makes this game is the Nemesis system. So basically there are going to be Orc commanders out there that lead various armies, and depending on your actions with them, you know, if they're left alone, they gain power, they kill other Orc commanders, they do all these kind of like random events, and if you stop them, you kind of like lower their street cred, or if you kill them they have no street cred, but then somebody else is going to try and fill the power vacuum. So it's quite interesting, and particularly like if you don't manage to kill that Orc commander and then you see him in like an hour's time or whatever, he'll remember you, he'll start taunting you, he'll be stronger, and you kind of get these rivalries going with these Orc commanders, and it is an absolute blast. It is a load of fun. Although I haven't actually completed it yet, I will be starting a new playthrough if I do this. But towards the end of the game, you get all kinds of weird and wonderful abilities which kind of make you a little bit OP. But the enemies are massively harder in the second region anyway, so it kind of balances out a bit. But there's some crazy ass stuff that you can do in this game. So if you like Assassin's Creed or Batman kind of games, or anything to do with Lord of the Rings, you're going to love this. So as you can see from the trailer, it is pretty violent. Since you are basically an assassin, even though you're a ranger. But yeah, this should be quite entertaining. I probably won't end up doing all the side quests though, otherwise it might take forever. But it should be quite a fun playthrough, and it'll be interesting to do something else on the channel that is Lord of the Rings themed, that is not Lord of the Rings Online, so it'll be a nice addition to the channel. So next up then on the list is going to be Half-Life 2. So those of you who have been around on my channel long enough know that I did actually try and start this a good while ago, but due to the fact that the game doesn't have multiple audio channels to separate out all the different noises, so it's all pretty much on one channel with just a volume basically, so all the gunfire and the dialogue and that are on the same channel, so it makes it very hard to make it loud enough for you guys to hear the dialogue without my voice being overloaded by the gunfire. But I'm going to try and find a way of getting it done at some point. This will probably be done some point in the summer. But so obviously, as the name suggests, this is the second game in the series, but I won't be playing the first game because that is really old. This game came out back in 2004, but it's still probably one of the greatest PC games of all time, so it's definitely worth a playthrough if you haven't played it already. But basically, it's set in the future. The events of the first game basically opened a portal to another world or another dimension through which all these weird and wonderful, or not really wonderful, aliens came through, and they basically conquered Earth in 7 hours. So as you can see from the trailer, it's pretty much like a post-apocalyptic future. Mankind is pretty much enslaved. There's some resistance fighters like fighting to try and get rid of the aliens, liberate humanity. And you'll be reprising the character from the first game, Dr. Freeman, who's basically going to be the saviour of humanity. So it's a pretty fun game. There's some pretty groundbreaking for its day stuff. I mean, like all the character animations and the way they fully animate all their faces and stuff was pretty groundbreaking back in the day. Obviously, it's just slightly over 10 years old now, so is a bit dated, but it holds up. It's still got a pretty great story. And there are 2 sequels, if you will, to this, but they're not full-fledged sequels. They're like episodic sequels. They're kind of like expansion packs, if you will, although they are standalone games. But expansion pack's the best way of describing it, even though it's not really an expansion pack in the traditional sense, but they continue on the story from the main game. So I'll start off doing the main game. I'll probably do the 2 episodic sequels at some point, not necessarily straight after the main campaign though. There's probably be a little bit of a break and move on to something else and come back to this later. But it's a pretty amazing game, so it's going to be good fun to play through that. So at this point in time then, if I were to play all these games in the order I've shown you guys, that would probably take me up to about the end of August, give or take. So potentially I could probably squeeze in 2 more longish games over the year, and I'm not entirely sure what I might do for those. One possibility might be Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, because that's a pretty fun game as well. It's something different to the other games I've done so far, that style of RPG, and also obviously it would tie in quite nicely with the fact that the new Star Wars film is going to be out at the end of the year, so that'd be a pretty interesting time to get that Let's Play done. But yeah, there's potentially a couple of other smaller games which may get played over the year, so like the episodes of the Game of Thrones series will be spaced out probably over the first half of the year as they get released. So there's potential for some smaller other games. And if you guys have any suggestions for other games you want to see me do a series on, then let me know in the comments, and I will see if I can squeeze them in over the year. So hopefully you guys have found that interesting then. So as I was saying earlier, things on this list may change, so some things may get added, some things may get removed, and depending on what's going on I might change the order from what I've done on this video. It might change over the year, just depending on how I feel. And if you guys got any suggestions for other games you want me to play, please let me know in the comments, and I might try squeezing a few of those in over the year as well. But thanks for watching.